Supernova by Nova Twins. It is 11 songs, 30 minutes long, and this is one of those, surprise records on Audioface that I love hearing. Where I'm like, I don't know who the fuck these people are or anything, but I like it, and I was not expecting this at all. So, yeah, it's
So
short. Sorry, go.
I was going to say that Nova Twins are a relatively new rock duo out of London. One is Iranian and Nigerian. The other one is Jamaican and Australian. And
very interesting mixes, and I love it.
Yeah, they're two punk rock black girls. They do basically metal music and pop, and there's some rap kind of spoken word into the mix,
like
and
some
it's
alt rock in there too.
And it fucking owns.
It does. It's really good.
It's great.
Like, it's interesting because I did not know what the hell to expect for this record. But the opening track of Antagonist, it just gets you like right into it of, oh yes, I love this shit. Or it's like really hard rock, like industrial rock in the way, like the drum sound, and it kind of wraps around your head, and I love that stuff. Some older Metallica sounding and some like early Disturbed and everything too that I used to listen to, and I was like, okay. But I really like their vocals a lot, because that's an issue I have with heavy hard rock, metal, some other genres of rock. I have issues with the vocals of just being like too raw, or you can't understand it here or there. Even like some issues with Linkin Park sometimes, where I thought like Chester could get a little too raunchy with the vocals and whatnot. But I love the way that they do it, where it's that borderline of being hard, but it's enough to not be off-putting.
Yeah, it's definitely, there are some songs in here that I wouldn't start with Antagonist if I was just trying to like black pill someone into like metal music.
Oh no, don't start with that. But it's a great starter for the record, because you're just like, you start with a car crash, and just like you fly out of the car, you stand up, and you're just like whoosh.
And to that point, there are songs in here that I would definitely use for that. So kind of like moving along, there's Cleopatra, KMB, Fire and Ice, which I think continue this like harder kind of bent and tone to it. But then you also have songs like, I'm in the second half as well, where not only am I getting the metal influences in this, I'm kind of feeling like some of the early Muse from it.
I was gonna say, you definitely get a lot of Muse influences, or Assassin era Muse, the 2003 style Muse, which I freaking love.
Exactly, like A Dark Place from Somebody, a Dark Place for Somebody, that's
Somewhere Beautiful.
A Dark Place for Somewhere Beautiful. That's the way my monitor cuts things off sometimes, so I had to screw that up, but thank you. That track is really reminiscent of 2003 era Muse, like Black Holes and Revelations era shit. It kind of starts with this like bassy kind of grungy thing, and then develops and builds into like alternative rock, and not just like modern alternative rock where it's like super bloopy and basically it's synth pop essentially, but like early 2000s alt rock, like still grunge influences, really heavy, really good. Too. Yes,
like you got a lot of early, like that transition from grunge to alt rock, right? Where you get that early Muse, you get even like early Incubus, which still has it, like Nice to Know You off of Morning View style,
and that's an era. It's an era that we love, and it had a lot of pop, possibilities. Because again, like we kids like us, we weren't trolling like music forums when we were like 5 or 6 years old. 7 or 8 for me, a little bit, somewhat, right? But like we were young kids, and so the reason stuff like Muse and Incubus got big was because it managed to transcend that level and become popular music. Like, I'm not
even like some early it even sounds like some early Gorillaz too.
Yeah, I could
like
sort of
2000s, like some of like M1A1 and some other tracks in there too.
Yeah, definitely the harder Gorillaz stuff, right? Like basically just M1A1 and like stuff like that. But there are harder influences as well. But it calls back to this era where this harder rock was mainstream and was stuff that really people liked. So I think it's really smart of them to do. This is a situation where I hadn't listened to their other projects, so I'm pretty sure they had Yeah, they had a Nova Twins EP that came out in 2016. They've had some other products that have come out here and there, but this is like one of their proper full releases, and I am really
Good.
enjoying this curveball pick. Yeah, it's a
Me-
really solid one.
It's great, and it's something that I thought that I wanted more and more artists to do of that early 2000s alt rock scene, even like early Arctic Monkeys too. Some influences of there as well, where it's that harder, almost like some of their stuff they can strip it back a little bit with some of the instrumentals, and then they can add on a lot of the synth influences and stuff too to make it really industrial sounding. So it's cool to hear that, but it's nice to have a group that makes the sound fresh, because you can easily make a throwback record, which we have gotten a few times on this fine established podcast, of people trying to make that sound, but it's not right for the decade that we're in, right? It's like they make it just too retro sounding, so it sounds Uncle Rocky, and we get that. Like Foo Fighters is a prime example of that. Like they're very Uncle Rocky sounding, and it just wasn't. The latest projects really weren't doing it for us, and this is the first one in a long time, I think, that you get this harder sounding rock, harder sounding alt rock, metal. That is new, it's fresh. There's a lot of different ideas, a lot of pivots that they can do with this. And the thing that I really like about it is it's short. It's 30 minutes, or 31 minutes really. And all the tracks, the longest track is what? 3 minutes 30 seconds, so not even 4 minutes. And within this genre and stuff, to make it sound fresh, you have to make them shorter, because back in the day you could make longer tracks with it, but the way it is now, because it's very overpopulated and oversaturated with that sound, because there's only a limited amount you can do with it, you have to make them shorter to be concise and get the point across, and they do that fantastically. It's a great record, really, really good record.
Yeah, it's an acknowledgement that in 2022, especially as a new artist, you have a limited amount of time to make your impact. So cut it down to your best work and make that impact. And 11 songs is a full record in any
Yep,
by any
100%.
stretch of the imagination. At any time period, the fact that they put something that feels this complete, I think it could like have a little more cohesion between songs and subject matter, but like I'm not really looking for that in this early on of a project from them. But I'm fully satisfied with it.
Mm-hmm. Same here. Arbitrary scale this week is is the amount of times that Biden falls off of bikes. More is worse. So
This episode is brought to you by Uncle Joe's Tricycles.
Uncle Joe's locally owned trick bikes.
Get your training wheels. Get your training wheels here.
They might cost you some loans. This is like 4 Biden falls.
Yeah, since I skewed the scale with my
you killed the man.
Yeah, since I skewed the scale with how many falls I gave Drake, I'll give this a solid 3 falls. 3 falls down.
Damn.
Less the better. So the closer I get to 1 fall, that's like a perfect record.
1 fall is like miraculous.
Well, yeah, 1 fall is this. Keep in mind, this is Joe Biden's presidential health insurance. Like he's got that good shit. All the lizard, all the best steroids you can offer a lizard.
All of the stuff all of the medication that Trump took to somehow survive COVID.